There we go. Good morning. I am just pulling this up on my phone. Okay, I see people rolling in. Oh, my volume's on. That's not good. All right, let's see if I can get that there. Well, you know, it's always fun trying new things, isn't it? All right, we'll leave it like that. Okay, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I don't know where the weekend went. I don't know about you guys, but that time sure does fly. I hope you guys did something fun or had a nice, relaxing couple of days, because we're back at it again today. Good morning, good morning. So today is calendar launch day, and we did delay it a little bit. We had quite a few things going on in the store, and I just looked at it and thought, okay, we can't overload everything. So I decided it was best to wait till this morning to do the live, and I'm super excited to show you this one. It might be one of my favorites, and I know you've heard me say that before, but really, I had so much fun with this one. And I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I do. But we'll just give everyone just a minute or two here just to find the video. So does anybody have any big plans this week? I can't believe it's like the 9th of September already. I just don't even know where time is going. It sure is flying by. It feels like we just started the January calendar page, and now we're already in September. It's crazy, crazy. Okay, so we're going to jump in, and this is the bundle that you're looking at here. So we are using paper from Coco Vanilla. So this is the first time we are ever using product from Coco Vanilla. And I will tell you right off the hop, you will notice the bundle price is a little higher than it has been in the past. And that is because Coco Vanilla is located in Australia. So even when we carry this product in our store, it is always a little bit more expensive. But in my opinion, it's worth it. I especially like the product that we picked this month because as soon as this line came out, I thought I need to work with it. I just need to. And we hummed and hawed about whether to use it for the calendar because of the increased cost, but I just couldn't resist. So we've done some bright, colorful, fun summer pages already, but I like to do one that's a little bit more like outdoorsy. You know, for the people who like to camp or hike or, you know, do the outdoor things. Now, if you are not that person, don't exclude yourself from this page in your calendar because it just depicts being outdoors and that being part of summer. So, you know, if you have photos that work, that you have for the month that don't work with the outdoor theme, that's okay. It's still outdoors. I know that a lot of places, not a lot of places, a lot of times in the winter we use like snowy, wintry kind of paper, and you may not have photos for that either, but it's still, you know, depicts the season that we're in. So just, you know, kind of try to get over that part. But I know last year I did an outdoorsy page and it was our top seller. So I know there's a demand for it out there. And I know that people who are getting these calendar bundles aren't always just doing the calendar. They're doing scrapbook layouts for their albums too. So it's definitely one that I wanted to touch on. So what do you get in your bundle? So the first thing you're going to notice is this awesome mountain background paper. So this paper is called Horizon. So it sort of has like mountains on the bottom and then this big empty space on the top. And I just, as soon as I saw this paper, I thought, okay, we're getting that one. The photos I'm using have nothing to do with mountains at all. And you'll notice when I create the background page, when I show you the layout, that it doesn't have to be mountains at all. So don't be scared off by that. You're also going to get a beautiful assortment of 6x8 papers. This is actually half of the 6x8 paper pack. So you get one. Okay. I'm back. I don't know what happened. It just dropped the connection. So we're going to try again. This is not a good start. I haven't had this happen in a very long time. All right, let's just pull this back up here. I don't know what happened. Sorry about that, guys. It just all of a sudden just stopped. So we'll just give everyone just a second to find us. I'm really sorry. It must be a Monday. Let's hope that doesn't happen again. I don't know what's going on. Very strange. Okay. So what I was saying was gorgeous background paper. Awesome pattern papers in the 6x8 pad. And you get an entire package of ephemera. This is what we are going to be using over on this side, and this is all of the extra stuff. What are you doing? The small fan? It's at the store? I'm sorry, I need it. I know. Go up and get the big fan. Yeah, so you get this whole package of ephemera. So this is what we're using. This is what you have left over. So again, you're going to have lots of extra things to play with when you are done this layout. So if you have other pages that you want to add to your album, you can certainly play with this. I know, what a Monday, right? First the connection, then my husband's coming in. This isn't going very smooth so far. And then of course you do get a photo of the finished layout. Ooh, that's a sneak peek that you can use as a guide. And then you can come back to this video and watch it as many times as you like, because we are going to include a QR code on your bag that you can just scan with your phone, and it's going to bring you right back to this video. So Shelby, take note. When we do the QR code, we should come to this video, not the first one, because I did not delete the first one, and I don't know if it'll be there. But this is the one that's going to contain all the information. Okay, so here is the layout, which I just love. Oops, let's slide it over a little bit here. Okay, so there is a lot going on with this layout. I don't mean it's busy. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff to share. And I have been talking a lot about introducing die cuts and stamps and dies, that kind of thing, over onto our scrapbooking layouts. And this month I took a plunge. So there's a few really awesome things that I'm going to share that I've used on this page. So another thing to keep in mind, this is your crafting journey. This is mine. So if you don't like something that I have included on the layout, or if you don't want to invest in something that I have included on the layout, that is entirely up to you. And you can substitute with things that you want. That has always been the case as we carry on. The whole premise behind me doing this calendar series, the way that I'm doing it, is to give myself creative freedom to sort of scrapbook and do things the way that I want them shown in my album. So, and I'm passing and sharing that on to you. But again, you have the creative freedom to do whatever you like on these pages. But I am going to show you some really fun things and how easily those we'll call them card making supplies, crossover into scrapbooking. And it's really kind of funny because I've told you too in the past couple of videos that Spellbinders has come out with a storytelling line, and 2 of their releases are featured on this layout. And that's kind of by accident because I had the honor of taking classes from Spellbinders when I was at a trade show in July in Las Vegas, and I got to work with these boots. And as soon as I pulled them out of the bag, I thought to myself, these are going on a layout. So here they are. It didn't take long. So what I'm going to do is just go through the add-ons that are being used this month. So you can make a list if you'd like. We will have that add-on section on our online store. Once this video is over, those items will go live and you will be able to purchase. So same thing with the calendar bundle. It's not up there now, so you can go and look, but it's not there. So as soon as I'm done, Shelby's going to make that live, and it may take a minute or 2 after we're done to show up. But a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about will be in there. So let's start with what inks we are going to be using this month. So I am using Gina K Powder Blue, but I am informed that we are currently sold out of that right now, but we will get it back in stock. So what Shelby asked me to do was swatch out some other colors that may work. And she gave me a few suggestions, and I was happy to do that. So the ink that we're using is going to be featured in the background. Now you'll notice that I showed you that mountain paper before. Where did I put it? Right here. So here's the mountain paper. Okay, so you can see that it's all white up here at the top. And my mountain paper on my layout is no longer that way. I have made it into sort of a sky scene and used a cloud stencil to do that. So the blue ink that we're using is going to be used up there. So if you've got blue ink in your stash and you want to swatch it out when you get this and see if it matches the colors that we're using, then by all means go ahead, but we're going to give you some suggestions. So the powder blue that I used, which is the Gina K one, is right here on the top. And I just swatched it out using the cloud stencil so that you can see. And so that's the one that I've used on my layout. So in addition to that, I swatched out the Concord and Ninth Harbor ink. Now this is a little bit more on the teal side, but it definitely will work. I don't think you need to get too hung up on how close the color is. But if you're one of those people, which I understand, then this one is a little bit more on the teal side. But that's the Concord and Ninth Harbor. And then we also have Tailored Expressions Gumball. So that's a pretty good match as well. And this one actually surprised me. So this is the Tailored Expressions Blue Cheese. So this is one of their newer colors. I hadn't even got it out of the package yet, which is why I didn't use it. But that one really matches the color that's down here. And it's a pretty nice color. So Tailored Expressions Blue Cheese would work really well. The other one that works really great is Catherine Pooler Cove Blue. And that is, again, pretty similar to the color that's on the bottom here. So that's the Cove Blue. And then Pink Fresh Summer Shower. And again, this one is a little bit more on the teal side, but I do think it works really well. So those are some suggestions for you in a few different brands of ink. If you would like to pick or choose one of those, depending on what you're collecting, by all means, go ahead and do that. So that's the one ink. The other ink we're going to be using is a distress ink called Scorched Timber. So this is one of his newer colors. It's in those beautiful brown tones that I love to collect from him, the Distress Oxide. And we are using that on our tag in the background here. So I cut the tags out in white, which I will demonstrate shortly. But then I did the ink blending on the back of the top layer, and that is what I used for that. So that's the Scorched Timber. And then one that I feature a lot is the Distress ink in Walnut Stain. I use this so much you can't even really read the top of mine because I always put my brush on top. And then the blending tool with the little foam pads on it. So that is something that I use in a lot of my layouts, not every one of them, but a lot. And this time, I'd say I use it quite extensively. All the die cuts are inked. All the edges are distressed and then inked. So, and then a lot of the inking on the boots and stuff is all done with that walnut stain ink. So that is something that I used a lot. And then let's talk about the dies I used. So the first one is a press plate from Spellbinders. It's for the Better Press. This came out in coordination with the large word die cuts that they released with their storytelling line. And I happened to receive a couple of them in a kit that I received when I was doing the classes. And so these happened to be on my desk. They were not my first choice. The reason being is they do have one that is sort of a travel or exploring version of that. I don't even remember what it's called. If Shelby is there and do we have it in stock, I don't know. But I wished I would have had that one, but I didn't. And as I got further into this layout, for me, this one actually ended up working out better. So this one is the Friends Sentiments, and it is a press plate. So in order to stamp it, you do need the Better Press system. Now, you can go through your stamps and dies and sort of see if maybe you have words that you could work with if you don't have the Better Press. If not, it is something that could be left off the layout. It's not imperative. But, oh yeah, what is that one called? The one linked above is the Wander Words press plate. Yes. So I would like that in my stash for sure. Just something I know I would use. But this one is the Friends ones, which I also think I will get a lot of use out of as well. I believe, do we have the Friends one in stock, Shelby? I can't remember. I know we've been talking about them a lot, so we might not. This one might be in pre-order status until it comes back in. So you can pre-order it, and then we'll have it for you when it comes in. Perfect. Okay, so I'm right on that. So I will show you where I've used it. So I did use one of them here, and a couple of them in this cluster on the other side. So my intention was to also put one underneath the title, but by the time I got everything put on the layout, I had kind of forgotten about it. And then when I went to try to squish it back in, it didn't really work. But if you wanted to, so this is the die cuts when they are cut out after you stamp them. So with the Better Press, you also have the option to foil them, which is really cool too. But what I wanted to do was put this one here, Remember This Day. Let's see if I can pick it up because they're always so tricky to pick up. Here we go. And I really wanted to kind of include that over here with the title. But I already had everything in there and it just looked a little bit too squishy for me. So I decided not to add it, but that was my original intention. But this set says things like, remember this day, through thick and thin, fun and laughs, happy together, lucky to have you, and you are my person. So my whole layout is about our biking adventures throughout the summer. We purchased e-bikes a couple of years ago, and it's pretty much something that we do almost every day in the evenings. And in August, we went quite a bit. And so I took lots of photos and I made a layout with that. So obviously my husband and I are in a lot of these photos. And so those sentiments really worked out. So I put, you are my person, happy together, fun and laughs. And then I wanted to remember this day up there, but it didn't make it onto the page. So that is the press plate option. So you can pre-order that when it goes up, and we will get those to you as soon as they come in. But the Wander ones would work really well if you are going kind of with that outdoor theme as well. So I don't know if we included those in the add-ons, but they could be put in there as an option. The next one is the Over the Rainbow die cut set. Now this one can be substituted. So what I'm using from this is the flower and the stem. And they actually go in my boots, in my hiking boots on my tag. And then you can see I've got a little one down here. But if you have another floral set in your stash, we did include a couple of others, or we will be including a couple of others in the add-on section that you can look at as well. I do really like this one. It's a great scene builder, also great for card making. It does include some clouds, some smaller flowers, this whole rainbow thing going on, and I feel like it does have good value, but I was very interested in this stem and flower, so that is also part of the add-on section. And then obviously the boots. are a huge one. So these boots, they just right away, I was like, I need them. I have to have the boots. So you can see that there's the die set right there. And it does cut out the boots, hiking boots. Now I've seen a lot of inspiration with these boots, especially on the card side, where you can fill the boots with flowers and you can do them for all different seasons. And I've also seen some really cute cards made with, I think that Doc Martens are the ones that you can get all the like the florally patterns on. And they make these boots out of really cute things. Now I do have another set here that I made up. And these ones are kind of in teal. So you can customize your boots and make them all kinds of fun different colors and do fun different things with them. So even if you're not a hiker, they're just so much fun to play with. And you can use one single boot, or you can make a pair of boots and do tons of things with them. So we will talk more about the boots as we move through this. And then the other die cut one is the word wander. And you can see that I have included that up here at the top. So just as part of a title. And Shelby is putting another inspirational layout up in the comments. And you can see where the boots and the word wander are used as an embellishment on a page. So again, lots of outdoor options for the boots. I think it's really fun to use. I see Kim is quoting a song, and I'm not going to read it because that'll be bopping through my head all day long. And then the tag stacklets. Now these have been shown in, I don't know, multiple months. So if I've not convinced you that you need these yet, maybe this will, but I'm using both the sets of tag stacklets from Tailored Expressions. So this is the one that is the back, which is just no stitching. It's just a solid tag. And then this is the one with the piercing. And I'm using the two largest sizes, and they do stack together nicely. And I'll show you when I ink them up, the effect that it gives. But that is what those tags look like when they are together, just in a solid white color. Like so. And then I'm also using the reinforcement on it as well for a tag topper. You can see it in the background there. So that is all of the die cuts. And I know it seems like a lot, but I did warn you. It's going to happen on these calendar pages. I can't help myself. I mean, it's just the way that the industry trend is going. And I have a room full of supplies that I want to maximize my use and definitely pull it over into my scrapbooking, because I do love making cards, but I am a scrapbooker at heart, and this is what I love to do. And if I can bring those supplies over and use them as embellishments on my page, that would be awesome. Like, these boots are really cool. And if there was a line that came out that had the boots in them as ephemera, I would likely buy it because I love the boots, but they are a one-time use thing. Once I use them on a page, it's done. Just like all these other little embellishments here, I've used them, so now I can't reuse them. But if I have dies that I can cut them over and over again to use them on different things, then I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. All right, so we talked about ink and we talked about dies. There is the little month die cuts that we've cut out, and they are available as an add-on as well. So if you're doing the calendar portion of the page, that is available. And then obviously if you're doing the calendar portion, you're going to want to make sure you pick up one of these calendar add-on pages as well. We do not include these in the bundles because not everyone is using that, and we don't want them just to be thrown out. So we talked about the ink blending tool for the distress ink. Also an edge distresser is something that I use quite a bit on this layout, and I will pull up these die cuts over here and hold them up nice and closely. And you can see that I have sort of, the edges on the die cuts are sort of scuffed up and then inked. So that is the edge distressing tool. And I will demo that quickly so you can see. How do you lace the boot? Well, Kim, you will have to wait for the boot demo. You can lace them if you wanted to with real thread, but there is a part of the die that does the lace. And in this case, I did use the die to do the lace, but there's definitely options for threading as well, which is really cool. So an edge distressor, if you want to do that technique. Blending brushes, so your favorite blending brushes, you will need those to do the cloud stenciling if you want to do that. A needle and a piercing tool. I just did a wee bit of stitching on the photo mat on this side, so it's not extensive, but it is there. So if you want to do the stitching, you'll need white floss, needles, a piercing tool, and then a mat to pierce into. And then as far as gems to embellish, so you can see that I've done a couple of little gems here, a couple over here, and then a couple on this page as well. So if you want to add gems, obviously you can use whatever you have. I have fallen in love with the clear drops from Pink Fresh. Now I'm telling you about them. We are sold out. I think we might have 2 packages left, maybe. We've been using them a lot in our make and takes, and our customers are loving them. This one is the champagne. I'll just put a few in my hand here so you can see. The champagne. Now if you're seeing the silver, that's the back of it. The front has the gold sort of glass bead. And I love them. So can you see how much they're sparkling? Like, they're just amazing. And I find those neutral colors, the champagne and the iridescent, which is what I would call the silver ones, they just go with everything. So all of the things that I've been talking about, a lot of them will be found in our add-on section for this month's page. So you can just go there and everything will be there. Now, if you don't see it there, it could mean we have sold out. If you don't see it there now, it means we haven't made it live, so you have to wait till after the video. But afterwards, if you don't see it there, it could be that we sold out, and then you just have to let us know you're interested, and then we will let you know when they arrive. So keep an eye on that section. Natural twine. We sell this by the yard, and I use that in the tag here. And also white floss I mentioned for the stitching. A sanding block. I always use a sanding block on my photos, so you can see the white edge on my pictures. So I print my own photos, and then once I print them, I cut them to the size I want, and then I go ahead and sand the edges, and I just love how that looks. So sanding block, and then you will need some cardstock for your die cutting if you are interested in doing that. So the browns that we used to do the boots, you just want a dark, a medium, and a light brown. We did put suggestions in our add-on section, as well as white and the green and the yellow for flowers. So depending on your dyes and what you're using, you may have to alter that slightly. But and the colors that we chose match the papers pretty closely, so you can check those out. And that is, oh, and then one more thing, the stencil for the clouds. So I'm using the Set the Scene cloud stencils from Tailored Expressions. I really like these because they're separate pieces and they're all different cloud edges. So it makes the stenciling interesting as you go across if you want to switch it up. I believe I just used one cloud and I just move it across the page as I go. I will demo that so you can see it. If you have a cloud stencil, you can pull that out, give it a try, and go from there. But I think that is it for add-ons. Okay, so now let's talk measurements. Anybody have any questions so far? We've suggested light craft, oatmeal, and espresso. Yes, so Shelby has those loaded up into our add-on section so you can pick those out while you are shopping if you want to make sure you get everything and have it all with your bundle. I'm just going to wait and see if there's any questions. If not, I'm going to move on to our measurements. So the mountain paper, we talked about that. So here is the mountain paper, and what you're going to do with that is leave it as it is. You're going to cut off that barcode, and it's going to be used as the background of your page, and we are going to add the cloud stenciling along the top there. So once I'm done all of the measurements, I'll go back and I'll demo a few things for you. So that's what we're going to be doing with that. And then that beautiful stack of 6x8 papers that we are including. So I love these. This is more of a paper stack than a paper pad. So there's no tearing the papers off. They all come individual like this. So you don't have to worry about that gooey stuff at the top. I wish all companies would do that, but I don't know, there may or may not be a reason for it, but I love the companies that have it separate like this. 49 and Market does their pads like this as well. Okay, so we're not going to be using this paper at all. And these are only single-sided, so you don't have to choose. The compass paper. So the papers that I'm going to talk about here, you're pretty much doing the same thing to every paper. You're going to cut a strip that measures 7/8 by 8 inches. So that is telling you right off the bat, you have to go the long way because you're not going to get 8 inches this way. You have to go the long way. And you're going to distress the edges on this. So I'll get back to this when I'm done the measurements, and I'll refer to the layout, but I'll show you exactly what you're going to do with it. But you're going to be cutting 7/8 of an inch by 8, just one strip, and the rest of it is all extra. So you are not using much of this paper at all. I find I'm using less and less paper when I actually craft. So when you do buy a collection, the mileage that you get out of it is crazy. The striped paper, again, 7/8 of an inch by 8, so this direction, and you're going to distress all the edges on that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm calling this the black and white scratch paper. Again, 7/8 of an inch by 8. So do you see what you're doing here? You're cutting a bunch of strips out. So this one I'm calling the yellow paper with the plus sign. 7/8 of an inch by 8. Distress the edges. The star paper, 7/8 of an inch by 8, and distress those edges. This one I'm going to set aside because we got different instructions for that. The blue chevron paper, 7/8 of an inch by 8. We will not be using this cloud and moon paper. The orange suns, 7/8 of an inch by 8, and distress those edges. The plaid, again, 7/8 of an inch by 8, and distress those edges. It killed me not to use this, but the pattern was running in the wrong direction for me. But I look forward to using it on a different layout because that one was one that I was like, ah! So the feathers, 7/8 of an inch by 8, and distress those edges. Oh, yes, Shelby. So Shelby just said, with the leftover paper and ephemera, you are definitely going to be able to create more stuff. 100%. There's a lot of extra. So there's a lot included. We won't be using this one because we're using the full-size version. We will not be using this one either. And then the wood grain paper, this one's different. This one is 5 3/4 by 7.5, and that is going to be for this photo mat right here. So just shortening it a little bit to get it to fit in there. And then all those paper strips are going to be used to create your background on top of your mountain paper. So if I hold that up there a little bit closer, you can see that they're all just layered on top of each other. And I will go in the order here. So the stripe is the top one. Then we've got the compass. Then we've got the black and white scratch paper. We've got the yellow plus sign paper. We've got the star, the chevron, the orange suns, the plaid, and the feathers. So that gives you all of the order that the paper ladder goes in. Okay, and then this paper here, this one we use to cut out some of the cut aparts here for our layout. So the first one is this Adventure Awaits square right here, and that's going to end up going right here on the layout. So I just sort of tuck that in to this chevron piece right there, and the edges are distressed on it and it's inked up. So that's where that one goes. And the outdoors is calling, that's this one right here. So that one ends up on the layout side and it's right down here. So that is that die cut right there. I don't trim it down or anything. I just distress the edges and that's where it ends up. And then the word strips right here, Now I'm going to hold these up. You'll notice that they are not straight. So cutting them with a trimmer, it is an option, but not necessary. I actually cut them with my scissors and I let them be wonky. So I quite liked how they looked. And I do use those throughout the layout. So here and here and here, and then on the tag. I'm not sure, do I use them on the other side? I do not. So a few different places. Did I mention that one? There's 3 here, and then the ones on the tag. So that is what is cut out of this die cut sheet here. And again, there's extras, so you can save those and use them for another page. But I love the option of having those cut aparts. And then as far as the ephemera goes, there's tons of ephemera. And I'm going to point out where that goes on the layout. So this stuff here is going to go on the main page. So I'll slide this over a little bit so you can see. So Fun Times, this little sign, it gets tucked into one of the boots. Okay, so it's just going to pop out the top there. The trees, I knew 100% the trees needed to be a focal point on my layout. So they're right at the top with the word wander. So that's kind of where I put my title piece. And then I loved this, the sunset sort of icon. So again, I distressed the edges and just tucked it into the compass paper, just at the top. And then Wild by Nature just went right down here in the lower corner. And then on this side of the page, I kind of went crazy. I had all these die cuts and I thought, well, I have to use them. So we've got a whole bunch of things here. Let's see. So here's the Let's Go flag and the green star. I'm a what? What does that even say? I don't even know what that word is, Shelby. A dendrophile? What does that mean? Help me out. Am I the only one who doesn't know? A tree lover. Oh, well, then yes, I am. I've never heard of that before. I remember the very first time, I don't know, I was quite young, that I heard the word angler. I'm like, what's an angler? And it's a person who likes to fish. Clearly you don't read our Facebook posts. Well, clearly not. Did you post that this weekend? Because I was busy this weekend, but I generally see them. You had me there. I had no idea what that was. Okay, so green star. And then there are a couple of just plain stars here. Good, I'm not alone. So we've got the plain stars that are scattered throughout there. Then I've got one of those words that I created using that Better Press plate. We've got the word explore. Okay, here we go. There's the word explore. And then we've got the blue flag. I'm just going through this so that when you're putting your layout together, you can see where this all goes and what it looks like. So there's the blue flag. The yellow star. There's another one of those plain ones. And then the banner that says Wild Thing. Get outside and roam. We've got the orange star, the sun banner, the roam word, and then this blue star is over here, and then this little thing, I'm not sure what it is, but I used it right here. So that is all of the die cuts that I used. And again, this whole pile over here that you can do funny things with. Again, this frame is really intriguing to me. I really love that. I think you could do a lot of fun things with it, but it just didn't make it onto the layout. But yeah, tons and tons of ephemera for you to play around with. Okay, any questions so far? Yes, Shelby, I do know you are a word nerd. I'm really grateful for all your words. She comes up with some pretty fun things that we use quite a bit. I'll say to her, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do about this. Like, what should we call it? And bam, in 30 seconds, she has a title for it. And I'm like, that'll work great. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to demonstrate quickly how I distress the edges and how I angled the corners on these strips over here. So all of these strips have angles on the end of them. And on each strip, the angle is the opposite of the other end. And I'm just going to quickly show you how to do that. So I'll grab some of my scrap paper and a trimmer. All right, this one's handy. So I'm gonna cut a 1-inch strip. I know I said 7/8, but it's easier to do one on this trimmer for live. It doesn't matter how wide it is. Okay, so here's a 1-inch strip. And this strip is 8 inches long. So to create the angle, what you're gonna do is get out your ruler and you're going to measure in on the top and the bottom of the strip. So the top on one end, bottom on the other. And you're going to measure in, I want to say it's only going to be like 1/4 of an inch maybe. I didn't exactly write down what I did, but I don't want to waste too much of the length of the strip. Now I need a pencil. Oh, my phone is making sounds. Okay, so 1/4 an inch. Oh, I said top. It doesn't matter. I can flip it. If it is directional, make sure you can flip it. But 1/4 inch there, and 1/4 inch here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your trimmer. Seriously, guys, I have a problem. Oh, here it is. How do you lose a trimmer? But I put it on a shelf. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up that tick mark and the corner of my paper along the blade, and I'm going to cut that. So it's going to end up, now I said 1/4 of an inch, and I'm hoping that's enough. Looks perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line it up with the tick mark and the corner, and I'm just going to cut that off. So then you end up with this sort of angled. Now, if you want a bit more of an angle, I think this is perfect. My strip is a little wider than the one that's on here, but I'm sure I used 1/4 of an inch. And then what you're going to do is you're going to stagger the direction of the angle as it goes down the list. So this one's going this way. The top one goes that way. So you just sort of rotate your strips. I don't think any of these are a problem with direction. So as long as you cut them, you can always flip them over. So it's not a big deal. But that's how I created that part of the layout. And then as far as distressing, I love to distress the edges. Some people go really to town with this. I would say I do moderate distressing. And this little tool makes it really easy. So you're just going to take this and you're simply going to insert your paper into one of the little grooves. There's a little blade in there. And you're going to gently rub back and forth. And that's just going to rough up the edge of your paper. And I did the ends as well, but I'm going to show you what it looks like when you ink it. So you get a bit of paper fluff flying around. That's when you need one of those little dustbuster vacuums in your craft room. I have one of those. Okay, so you're going to end up with sort of a distressed edge to your cardstock. It does expose the core color, which is white, which is not a bad thing. And then, excuse me, you just simply take your walnut distress ink and you're just going to brush it over the edge. So that's going to kind of get rid of that white edge. And even some of the paper fluff flies off. But it still does give you sort of a nice textured edge to your page, which I really like. I don't do it all the time, but I do it often. We also have, I don't even know if we still have these, but I have another tool that I use a lot too. This one has a longer handle, which is kind of nice. And this is, has got a blade in it too. And then what is Shelby showing us? Oh, the little vacuum. Yes, that little vacuum is a handy little thing too. It's supposed to be for glitter, but it works great for this too. Little paper fluff. You just turn it on and scoot it over your work surface. I actually have mine somewhere around here. Let's see. I don't even know if it's charged. It comes with a USB charger in it as well. Oh, it does work. Here we go. You just suck that right up. See, it just vacuums. I love it. Thank you for reminding me about that, Shelby. So there, all my fluff is cleaned up. I have a clean desk. All right. I need to put that on my desk. So yes, so that's a handy little tool for sure. Maybe you should put that in the add-on section. Okay, so that's how you do the distressing. So it's pretty easy. All right, now we're going to do our cloud background. This is the part Amanda loves the most because I always do her background for her live. And then when I hand it to her, it's already done. She's spoiled. Okay, so I'm going to pull out my powder blue because I think that Can you tell me what storage container you used for your sequins? I sure can, Lynn. So this is storage for tiny things, and it's from Tailored Expressions, and I absolutely love it. So it's quite large. Let's see, it's longer than a ruler. So it's almost, I would say it's probably like 9.5 inches wide by maybe 14 inches long. So it's the same size as their other larger containers, but inside here, it's all divided. And this can be removed, but I have organized all of my neutrals in one area. I've got a little bit of a rainbow section going on down here at the bottom. And then I have another one that's more for seasonal things. But what I love about this, though, is I can reach in here and grab things out very easily, and then also put them away. Plus, I can see everything that I have. So when I'm working on something, I pull this container out and I'm like, does this work? Does this work? Does this work? I really, really love it. So it is a new product from them, and I have a couple of them in my room, and I will definitely be adding on to this. And they stack beautifully on my Calyx unit. So I could probably put maybe 8 of them in my Calyx unit, and then you can have like a little label on the end that tells you what's inside, so it makes it super easy. If you like to have a lot of little die cuts and things like that, you can put stuff like that in here, but it's basically storage for tiny things is what they call it, and it's really great. Right now, all I have in it are my sequins and jewels and things like that, but definitely has potential for lots of things. So thanks for asking. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do some ink blending with that stencil. I've lost that too. Oh, here it is. I need an assistant in my craft room. So I'm actually using the largest of the 3 different cloud options. Like I said, the nice thing about this one is that you can start and then you can kind of like move across your page. I'm sure you can do that with any stencil. They're just strips that have the edges on them, which I really like. They have a whole series of the Set the Scene, and one of them is mountains. So there is that. There's grass, there's clouds, there might be hills. I don't remember all the things, but okay. So I'm actually going to start at the base of my layout, and I'm starting with my stencil off the page. I don't want a harsh edge on the edge there, so I'm going to start off the page, and I am going to actually take this in place just a little bit so I don't wander off, and so that it's kind of straight. I'm going to stand up here and just make sure I get this straight, because you want your clouds to go straight, and it would be bad if your sky was on an angle. Okay, so this way I can kind of use the grid on my surface here and go from there. Okay, so here we go. I'm also going to watch this edge here because it is a straight edge, and I don't want my stenciling to just end. Oh my gosh. My phone, I might have to turn it off or put it in another room. I got a new phone and I'm still learning how to use it. And there's a conversation going on now. Can you guys hear that dinging? I hope not. Okay, let me get my ink blender out. I may not do the whole thing live, but we'll see how it goes here. So I try to get in the habit when I am crafting to always clean my brushes off when I'm done. First of all, so the ink doesn't sit on there, but most of all, so that when I pick them up the next time, I'm not having to do this. But I'm doubting myself, so I want to make sure that it's clean. Okay, so here we go. Oh, stop with the notifications. Okay, here we go. So start with a light hand and just focus on the edge of your stencil, because you don't want to stencil the whole background blue. You just want to get that nice cloud edge. And then I kind of line up the stencil in one of the divots. Clearly, there's a lot to be said. Okay, and then you just carry on. and so on. And it's okay if there's like a little bit of a shadow from the previous bump, but just kind of move along, line up your little bumps, and make sure your stencil is straight. That's the key. And again, light hand, just so you're catching the edges. You don't want it to be too dark. And I'm going to finish off here. Like so. Okay, so that's row 1. And now you just move up and you continue across the page until you get your completed sky. Now, again, like anything else, when you are working on something like this, you're very focused on how it looks because that's what you're focusing on. When you complete your page and you put all of the stuff on it, you're not going to notice if there's little flaws in certain areas. Plus, a lot of it is going to get covered up in the center here. So just make sure the outer edges are as perfect as you can be. And then the center is not so much an important thing. So just, again, keep in mind if one area is a little darker or lighter, or if you don't quite line your stencil up perfectly, don't stress, because you're going to end up putting all of this on here and no one is going to notice your little imperfections. Okay, so that's basically what you're going to do. Now you just start your next row and you carry on. And again, if you want to have, like if I want to come down here and add in a few more bumps and make it a little bit more textured, you can certainly do that. But I would get your kind of rows in place first. And again, make some of them a little wider than others so that it doesn't look like strips. Just like down here where some of the areas are a little thicker and some are a little thinner. It just makes it nicer to look at. So you just have to kind of play around with your stencil a little bit. And if you want to practice before you jump onto your main page, by all means, grab a scrap of paper and just practice with your cloud stencil first. And then that way you don't have to stress if it's not working out when you first start doing it. You will have practiced a little bit on doing that. Okay, now let's talk about the tag and these lovely die cuts, because they are one of my favorite parts of the whole layout. So first off, the tags. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to actually stencil this up, the background up, so you can see how I do it. Just got to zoom in a bit, if it lets me. I'm always afraid to touch my screen when I'm doing a live, because if you push the wrong thing, we could get disconnected. But this will give you a closer view. Okay, so the back I'm not going to do anything with. I'm going to leave that white. The top layer has the piercing on it. And like I said before, I use the largest size of that piercing die. And I'm using the oxide ink. So I'm going to grab a different set of brushes, because I use different brushes for my oxides. I don't like to mix my regular dye inks together, and I also need a different stand. Okay, so here we go. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to start lightly ink blending. And oxide inks are different than regular dye inks, but we're just going for a very light kind of brown, and I love this color. This is very different than the other browns I have. I don't want something really deep. This kind of reminds me of like leather. I'm just going to hold my cloth here. I'm just going to blend that all in. So see how nicely that blends into the paper? But also what's happening is the edges are, because I'm starting on the glass and moving on, the edges are getting a little bit darker. Can you see how that's happening? Now I'm not going for a completely shaded look on my tag. I'm kind of going for, you know, a bit of a sort of a washed look. I'm going to do a little bit more blending in the center there, just to blend that in a bit more. And then I'm going to actually come and hit the edges of the tag a little darker. I'm really going to focus on darkening those up. And what that's doing is it's really pulling out that piercing detail. Ooh, I just love this look. I really love neutral colors. I mean, I love a rainbow, but on this outdoor page, it's super cool to have those neutral colors, browns, and earth tones. So I'm really just focusing on pulling in the color right on the edges. And it'll look pretty wow when you see just the tag. So that's what the tag looks like. I got to make sure I'm on screen here because I zoomed in and I'm never on screen. Okay, I'll pull it down a little. So there we go. Isn't that cool? But now watch what happens when you put it up against the white. Like, I just love that layered look. It really makes it pop. And it's a great piece to add to your layout. So I'm just going to pull the layout back in. First, I'm going to get rid of this ink. And the stands. Pull this over here. So you can see against your backdrop how that tag really pops off. And now I'm going to start building all the elements that go on the top. And then again, I added that reinforcement on the top of the tag along with that thread, or sorry, twine, just to really give it that rustic kind of look. So that's the tag, and that's the technique that I use for the tag. And I really love how that turns out. It's quite nice. And then as far as the boots go, the boots are fun. Well, let's talk about Wander first. So Wander is what I use for the title, and it's a great die. It's a one-word die. It's like the large word dies that we use all the time on our cards. So it's got two pieces. It's got the word Wander and it's got the shadow. Okay, so they're great little die cuts, very easy to run through. If you have the little Scout machine from Spellbinders or another small die cutting machine, this goes right through a small opening, so it's not a problem. Now, I like to cut out the word a couple of times and stack the die cuts. Now, the reason I do that is because it makes it nice and sturdy, and it also adds dimension. So I'm going to just demo how I do that, because we talk a lot about how I stack die cuts, but we don't actually, well, I don't always show the process. So I'm just grabbing a scrap of paper and make sure my glue is flowing. I have not used my glue press in probably a couple of weeks. So I'm just going to, sometimes if you have a glue press, I can't see. I never put the lid on my glue press. It just sits in the stand. It's got a little silicone pad there. And sometimes I get a little glue booger on the bottom there that I just pull off. But sometimes you have to take the lid and just give it a little poke. But I can sit it on there for weeks and not have to do anything with it. We are out of these, but they are going to be in again at the end of the week. So just keep your eyes peeled for that. But anyways, I'm just going to add glue to one of the die cuts. This is going to be the one I stack it on top of. And the glue press allows me to use just a little bit of glue, just the right amount. I can do little dots, I can do whatever. And the glue that comes in the bottle when you get the glue press is the Nuvo glue, and I love it. I had kind of gotten away from using Nuvo glue because, you know, Gina K comes out with her glue and all that for a while, but now I'm in it again. Great, now I've lost my tweezers. I am useless without my tweezers. They're not, oh, here they are. I was going to say they're not where they should be. Okay, so now I'm just going to layer this on top. And then because it is liquid glue, it gives you a minute to sort of shift it and wiggle it into place and get it lined up. So that's one layer. And this is a standard weight of cardstock. So whatever weight that is, this is like, I just got it from my scrap bin of scrapbooking stuff. So it's probably like the regular 80-pound. But if you use a heavier weight, like the 110, you can use less layers. But it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just scrap paper. You can just cut out as many layers as you want until you get the dimension that you like. But yes, I use liquid glue for everything too, Shelby. Like everything. Stuff I used to use tape runners for, I'm using glue for. So again, I'm just going to add that third layer and stack it up. And then I'll just hold it up. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but there is actual dimension on that die cut now. It's not just one flat layer. It kind of adds that dimension. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick that onto my background. And that's when it really looks good, when you add the shadow in. And again, it's just a small little detail, but all those small little details that you add end up making your whole project pop out. And when I'm looking at my projects afterwards, especially my scrapbooks, I love to see all the little details that I've added. I point them all out to my husband and he's like, you're nuts. That's why I'm really glad I have crafty friends that share the joy. When I post this title in our little group chat and say, look how dimensional it is, they all ooh and ah. So you can see there, I hope you can see, just how you get that little bit of pop on your title that you wouldn't get with just a piece of ephemera. It just doesn't happen. So I love the way that that looks. So that's how you do the Wander title. And that's what I did right here. And then when I put that on my layout, I did use a little bit of dimensional adhesive right behind there just to pop it up a little bit further. But that's exactly how I did that Wander title there. So I love the Wander word. And then the boots, well, I'm going to assemble one boot with you. You have to cut it out twice if you want a pair of boots. But the die gives you enough to do one boot. And like I said, there is the option of actually threading the laces yourself. So I may not put the die cut laces on these boots. I might, off the screen when the live is over, I might lace up the boots using some floss or whatever I have, just to give you an idea of the different look, and I can post it. I can post it over on our inspiration group and let you know what that looks like. But here's the base of your boot is the darkest color in my situation. And maybe I should bring these boots over here so you can kind of look. We'll make sure they're on screen. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the darkest part of the boot is at the back. And then you're going to take this piece and layer it on the front. And what you're going to do is be mindful of the top of the boot. You want the edges to match up. Okay. Yep, work boots for boys. Oh my God. So, well, see, now you're sending me down memory lane. So shortly after my son moved out, he came back out to do some work in our house. It wasn't shortly after. It was a little while after. Anyways, I was vacuuming up our laundry room and he had left his work boots here because he was coming back the next day, and I took a picture of them. And now I can do a layout and use these boots as embellishments. So thank you, Shelby, for reminding me. So before I put this together, I'm actually going to, I'm going to ink it. Now I'm going to use my walnut stain because I want it to be a little bit darker than what the background of my tag is. So I'm going to go in here with my ink and just distress the edges a bit. And this makes all the difference when you are putting your die cuts together, in my opinion. Okay, so now we're going to grab that glue. Yeah, so when I'm shopping for stamps and dies and things now, I am totally thinking about scrapbooking as well. Like, it's not just about card making for me. I definitely think that way. I mean, I love to make cards, but I really love to scrapbook too. And if I can get more mileage out of them. Okay, so you can see how that layers up there, and that's kind of the base. Isn't that cute? So now we're going to add the sides, and they are the lightest color, and they will go kind of down the side of your boot like so. Now this is where, if you want to lace them yourself, you're going to want to make sure that you only put adhesive on the side without the holes and just along the edge there so that you'll be able to get in underneath that. But I'm still going to hit this with some ink because I want to make sure that it's got a little bit of ink blending on it. And then we can put together, but I'll show you how to put the laces on. Maybe I should do one with laces and then one where I do it myself. Okay, so now I'm just going to use my tweezers and add some more glue here. This one I'll stick down all together. I'll do one with laces afterwards. And again, just follow the curve of the the die cut below. And again, that's the beauty of liquid glue, is once you kind of get it tacked into place, you can kind of shift it and make it go where you want it to go. So I'm going to put this one together using the die cuts that I've cut out over here. And then afterwards, I will do one off screen where I've actually put real laces in it. And I'll post it because it's pretty darn fun. I could make boots all day long in all the different colors. Okay, so this one is actually really easy to put together. And it doesn't take long to die cut it out either. Slip that up there. So you can kind of see now our boot is taking shape. See how cute that is? I love it. Okay, and then as far as the laces go, you get this really great zigzag piece like this. And, oops, I got it upside down. So that, oh, come on. So that is going to go with the flat part along the bottom. It's going to line up with your holes that are already pierced in your die cut piece. Okay, so you're just going to put, and this is where this glue press is amazing. You're just going to put some little dabs of glue in all the little spots. You don't need lots of glue, just little tiny dabs. And then you're just going to lay it on your boot and line up those little holes with the die cut. And this Nouveau glue gives you enough time to wiggle your die cut into place, but then it tacks up pretty quickly. So there's the first part of the lace. And you can see how professional it looks. It's awesome. Lines up really easily. And then you have this X piece here, like this. And that is going to just fill in the top part. So again, a little bit of glue. You people all intently watching me glue. Okay, so we're just going to pop that in. And again, line up those pieces with the holes on your boot as if they were going through the hole and being laced in. Okay, so that is how it ends up looking. Pretty cute. Okay, and then there is the lace that falls down this side. So that's this piece here. Okay, so one will go on this side. Now you'll notice when you lay this on here, there's pieces that kind of come off the side of the boot. So I am just going to put glue at the top and the bottom and kind of in the middle. And that will be more than enough to hold this in place. And once I kind of get it where I want it, I'm just going to hold it down for a second. And then the other one, it looks a little bit different, but again, top and bottom on this for glue. And I love how this die cut makes it look like the laces are just hanging there so realistically. So that's pretty cool, right? And now your boot's done. So that's one boot. And again, on here, this boot here is flat, this one here. And I just tucked the flowers in behind, but this one here is popped up a little bit, and then the sign goes in behind that part. So that's how that looks. And you would do exactly the same thing for the second boot. There's no left and right foot on these. They both look the same. Yes, the glue press makes fiddly things seem so much easier. And the timing of it is actually pretty crazy that she came out with it when she did, because the die cut scene is so popular right now. And I think they get more and more intricate as you go. I love cutting them all out and piecing them together. It's kind of like doing a puzzle. But yes, so that is where your little boots are going to come in. So I will go ahead and put together the second boot off camera, and I'll try to lace the boots up with some floss or something, just so you can see that you can play with that too. But it's a really fun a fun little thing to put together. So I think that's it. That's all the things I had to demo. Does anybody have any questions that they would like me to answer while we are here live? And I'm happy to answer. And if not, I'm sure Shelby is now populating the category with the bundles and the add-ons that we had not put in there yet. Again, I will let you know that if anything sells out, just let us know. We will gladly reorder and get that in for you. You know, we order in a decent amount of inventory, but we never know. We have no idea how many people are going to want the boots. We have no idea how many people want the Wander word. So we kind of order moderately, and then if we need to reorder, we will. So nobody has any questions? Okay, well, I'm going to sign off, and happy creating, happy shopping, and we will see you all soon.